Hey guys, welcome to Module 4. So at this point, we have gotten to the point that we understand about our psychology, right? We develop in stages. And when we allow ourselves to free up the energy, we can focus on actually being our true selves, being able to perform where we want to perform, not having to worry about anything. As we go through our shifts, we have predominant questions. We want to know where we need to change, what do we need to change, how do we need to change, why do we need to change. Having the ability to ask these questions and answer them allow us to move on to the next stage. We have the potential to change. As we learned a little bit about our psychology, we learned a little bit about how we can move in these maps. The map is not the territory. Nonetheless, you need a good map to know where you're going. Your goal is to find purpose, whether that means in some form of experience, of action that you take, of people that you've met in your life, what you do in life, or even your experience and the attitude that you have with it. So as we understand that there are points in our lives that what we have done does not work anymore, we need to find a resolution. We need to find what is creating this dissonance. What we have done does not work anymore, so we go through this existential angst of shift. We need to know, okay, if I want to change the outcome, I need to change my thinking. So once we get to an insight, we go through the process of problem solving, solving problem. Once we find the solution to our problem, then we need to overcome the barriers. Because as we find this new emerging level in our lives, there's new problems that come with it, and that means more responsibility. So overcoming the barriers for that paradigm or that level, as you would say in Mario Brothers, as you reach the higher levels, now you are integrating your skills so you can overcome those barriers. The level 8 barriers are going to be more sophisticated, more difficult, more challenging than the prior levels where you were coming from level 1, level 2, level 3, and now you have to practice what you preach. You have to integrate it. You have to make the muscle stronger as it goes through the atrophy of ripping apart and building stronger. So as we are learning to juggle balls, the paradigm shift is the ability to use your peripheral energy and focus on heavier things rather than smaller things. So as you learn to juggle, you have the ability to throw a ball in the air, you catch it, pass it over to the other hand. And as we are shifting from 2 balls to 3 balls, now we're throwing one in the air with our peripheral attention, and now we're focusing on 2 balls. And then when we add a third and fourth to the mix, now we're still focusing on 2, but our attention is now aware of the other balls that are in motion as we're going through the shifts. This is how we master ourselves. We are functioning at high cognitive awareness. So as we go through our experiences in life, we have a compass of how we're feeling. So being able to hit flow allows you to always develop in that direction, if that makes sense. The level of skill may not be the same as a challenge. So being able to find a nice medium as you're developing into what you're supposed to be allows you to understand how your emotions are developing as you are experiencing life in physical formation, in the physical realm. So when we come from essence, we want to be able to anchor into the inner body, being present with our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. Your goal is to just experience life as human. We have the ability to look at the inner body where we are able to look at our thoughts, feelings, reactions. It's not connected to our body, it's not connected to our mind. It is the essence of our lives. So as we are looking at our potential, we're always trying to hit our optimal performance. Flow is optimal performance. The best way to gauge flow is when we are happy, when we are meeting potentiality and reality at the same time, because of our skill and challenge are met at the adequate precision, if that makes sense. So depending on how we're feeling, that's how we are being challenged by life. So there is a flow in life as well as there are in skills. But in regards to being able to know how you're experiencing life, you are always being able to be put in a position where you are set to perform. So to perform, you have to be engaging in life, and that means you have to be alive. So as we hit flow, we will go through experiences of feelings, right? Feeling aroused, anxious, worry, apathy, bored, relax, comforts. Depending on how we are experiencing, that's how our body is interpreting this new shift that is occurring in our lives. Are we happy? Are we hitting the flow that we want? Even aroused is pretty good, right? But when we're hitting anxious and worry and even levels of apathy, that's when we need to take a step back and look at our level of skill. Because the level of skill is not meeting the level of challenge, and we're trying to hit a level of challenge that we're not ready for. So being able to know what are the questions that you need to change allows you to shift as we're juggling balls. Knowing the potentiality, having the insight, once you go through the problem solving process and then overcoming the barriers so you can integrate and then move forward as we're moving up and developing into the higher levels of performance, because it's now augmented, right? The amelioration is just developing, it's just becoming stronger, better, more sophisticated. So as we are hitting flow, now we're performing at higher levels where people are more creative, happier, more productive, and that's what our genius is supposed to do. It's supposed to develop, because that's how we develop the ability to keep the genius continuing on. So that's it for this module. In regards to paradigm shifts, just remember that it's like juggling balls. You have the ability to throw another one in the air, but you have to be able to keep your focus on what is most important, that, as well as the peripheral, where now you're freeing up the energy so you can focus on the bigger stuff, so you can get into the flow of things, of life, as the challenges that you're presented, right, the problems that you're presented now are being solved, because now you have a flow and you don't have to worry about these problems anymore. Now you're at peak performance, where now you're functioning at another different level where you're not worried about that anymore. You're worried about where you need to change in regards to who you are, rather than the small aspects of what you need to change and how you need to change it. So as we move on to another ball, now we're in the integration process, and we need to know where the map is taking us from that aspect. So I'll see you guys in the next module.